Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Stephen Kelley. First, I have a couple of announcements. Episode 1 of the Forbidden documentary is complete. It will soon be available on Amazon Prime and other streaming platforms, but it is available for you to download right now for only $5 if you would like a pre-release copy. This will be a unique limited edition version of Episode 1 that you won't be able to see on Amazon or the other platforms, so get your copy now. It also helps fund future episodes, so we appreciate that greatly. And it's a great episode, so go check that out. I'm really proud of it, and the next one will be even better. So click the link in the description or visit our website, forbiddenknowledgenews. If you're a Rokfin subscriber, you can watch it directly on Rokfin. You can now get Forbidden Knowledge News live 5 days a week on Rokfin, Rumble, and our website. Our website, again, is forbiddenknowledge.news. This is also the home of the Forbidden Knowledge Network. That's where we feature some of your favorite podcasts. There's about 10 amazing podcasts on there. You can always get every new episode of Forbidden Knowledge News on Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Be sure to sign up on Rokfin. This is where you get our premium content. You also get all the premium content from every incredible creator on Rokfin. Just go to rokfin.com/FKN Plus or use that link right in the description. Today I want to welcome Stephen Kelley. He is a laser electro-optics engineer, laser pioneer, and inventor who created laser-aiming weapon systems for military use. He was contracted through the NSA and CIA and other government agencies to provide high-precision laser technology through his company, SK Industries. After falling out with the CIA and NSA, through his work, he was made aware of the multi-level underground systems of tunnels and bunkers that exist under the Getty Museum in Santa Monica Mountain, Los Angeles, California. He is also an author, scientist, and radio host. Stephen, welcome. How you doing?
Well, I don't get up this early normally, but it worked out.
Hey, there you go. Well, thank you for waking up and joining us. I really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this. We're going to have an interesting discussion today. You've acquired some incredible information after your time contracted with the CIA and NSA through your laser technology company, and eventually became aware of what are known as DUMBS, or deep underground military bases under the Getty Museum, that are still being used for nefarious purposes, such as human trafficking, among many other incredibly evil military and CIA black operations. Now, we've got a lot to get into with this, and this is your first time on, so tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, and how you got involved with the CIA and NSA.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to say that, I read Bill Cooper a long time ago. Okay. A lot of us read Bill Cooper, and that was kind of our first intro into this stuff. And I think long time ago they had a book out called they dare call it conspiracy or something like that. I don't know if you ever, but that was like the old primer to this stuff. But anyway, CIA. Okay, first of all, I'm a twin. I know that doesn't sound like it makes any difference at this point, but it will. And my dad was CIA, only they didn't call it CIA. All right. It was something, CIA is kind of a euphemism. I know there is a CIA, but there's all these other things too. And a lot of times we just say CIA because it's easy. It covers all these, secret this and that. The State Department was what he was working for. That was back during the Korean War. And they had all kinds of different divisions and departments, and they would send people out, and this half the time these were CIA operations, but they worked under the cover of the State Department. But anyway, that's what he was doing, and he was involved in the well, it wasn't COVID back then, but it was biological warfare. But that's what COVID is, of course. And they've been doing this since the 50s. They've been trying to come up with this stuff. And I'll just tell you something really fast before I get into myself. But this COVID stuff, this is called bacteriophage therapy. This stuff's been going on it was developed in Russia. Soviet Georgia was where most of the stuff came from. And this was what they used before antibiotics. This was medicine back in the day. So this is why the United States has spent so much time in former Soviet Republic of Georgia recently, not just because they're trying to take over Russia, but because they're trying to learn everything they can about this bacteriophage therapy. Anyway, back to myself. Yeah, I was in the electro-optics business before I was in any of this stuff, working on lasers and, all that stuff that they used during Desert Storm, to kill all those people. I had my fingers in all kinds of that stuff, but I got out of that business. Let me see, what was it, 80s or something like that, just before the 90s. And I get out of it because they're kind of sticking it to me. I made a whole lot of money for a lot of people, and I made the country really strong and all that. And they didn't do nothing for me. So I went out on my own. I hooked up with doing some business with my brother. And by this time, my brother was getting all these hits from the CIA. It wasn't CIA, though. It was actually Intertel. I don't know if you ever heard of Intertel before.
Don't think so.
Okay, well, Intertel is the international mafia. Okay, it's like the group that is the head of the international mafia. It's the corporate board controlling structure for all the different mafias all over the world. Anyway, they're the ones that control your CIA, your NSA, your governments, your mafias, and all that. It's really all this mafia stuff. People call it the Rothschild Khazarian mafia, whatever. It's Intertel. Anyway, he got recruited by them. Okay, it was a guy named Don Nixon, Richard Nixon's nephew. Okay, now Richard Nixon's nephew, Don, as they called him, he worked for Robert Vesco, who ran Intertel. So he was like the number 2 man in Intertel, and he recruited my brother, and it turned out they were actually looking for me. But we didn't know that. I was always trying to figure out what the hell they wanted. I thought it was just the laser stuff. I thought, oh, wow, they're really, of course, yeah, sure, they're interested in lasers. The technology was alien technology. So anybody that was picking up on it, they were, putting a lot of tabs on. But it turned out that really wasn't it. It was something much deeper. And I thought, well, maybe it was because of my dad and what he did. And that's true, because they do have a legacy system. They recruit within the family. Once you join, you don't really get out. I mean, if you want out, they're going to take your children. They're going to get you. They're going to get the blood one way or another. So they got both of me and my brother. And we were working. First thing we were doing was trying to arm Saddam Hussein. They wanted Motorola radios and all kinds of stuff. Eventually, they got to phased array radar systems, and that's when the FBI got involved and shut that down. But that was my first experience, and then we got involved with the NSA. Of course, I didn't know it was the NSA. I thought it was the CIA, and that was the Ollie North gang. I didn't know it was the Ollie North gang until several years later, when the CIA actually told me I was working for Ollie North. But that was the whole Nicaragua Contra thing, and the lasers were going to them. Okay, because a lot of that fighting took place in the jungle, which is a very, lasers work really good in the jungle. It's dark, right? And eventually that led up to, was it Operation whatever, Desert Storm, or when they invaded Kuwait, that whole Kuwait business. So my stuff saw a lot of action in Kuwait and eventually Iraq. And I was, when I left those guys, they were just trying to screw me over, ship me off to Area 51. They knew, everybody knew more than I did. They knew what I was going to do before I did it. They knew they knew about stuff I was going to invent before I invented it. And they thought my brother was the big inventor guy. It turned, so they kind of screwed up. They went after the wrong guy. But eventually we got hooked up to the Getty, and that's because the Getty it's a big NSA base, and there's NSA bases all over the place. But this is a really big one, and it's a really important one, and I didn't really understand just how important it was, but well, let's just put it this way. I mean, we eventually all this stuff gets away from the lasers and the guns and gets into all this psychic stuff, because that's really where we're at right now, and that's how we do battle. It's really that's everything. And it was when I finally got really close to these Getty people. I didn't want to, I thought they were pretty wicked, but they made a lot of promises, and they said they had a really good convincing argument. They said that we were all humans and the earth was going to be invaded and we needed to save the earth and protect the earth from aliens and all this nonsense. So they got me on board to make weapons or invent weapons, come up with weapons systems that they could use to fight these aliens. And, that was kind of what I used to do. I used to make secret weapons and come up with stuff like that. So this wasn't too strange.
Now, what time period was this that they were telling you that
Bill Clinton was president?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of this stuff went down during the Clinton era. I mean, I got really heavily involved during Bush. I mean, I kind of remember everything by who was president at the time. But, obviously George Bush Sr. was the guy during the whole Nicaragua Contra thing, if you remember all that, with Ollie North. Yeah. So, and then Clinton came along and things got really heavy during Clinton. Clinton was when the whole human genome thing was happening. And that was right about when we were getting really heavy with the Getty guys, because they were gearing up for this whole COVID business. They wanted to collect DNA samples from Noah's Ark. Actually, there was, they found Noah's Ark. I mean, we all know where it is. And they went up there and they located what they think was the toilet on the boat. And
where was this located?
Oh, on Mount Ararat up there in Turkey. Armenia, Turkey, whatever. Anyway, so they wanted to take stool samples or fossilized stool samples or whatever it was from the anomaly, as they call it, and they were going to use this to isolate the genetic profile for Noah's family and then compare the rest of the people on Earth to that, and they were going to eliminate anybody that wasn't related. They've been trying to do that for a long time. But anyway, so when we got involved, so I did this. So I'm doing this, trying to figure out how to fight aliens and all this stuff. And I realized real quick, well, I started trying to get all spiritual and do religious stuff and see if maybe we could combine, holy water or scripture or whatever, we'll put scripture on the side of a bullet. I don't know, kind of a Dracula type thing. And I realized eventually that the only way we were ever going to fight these guys was with our brains, using psychic powers, because humans have skills. So I dove into that, 100%. And I got involved in all kinds of groups and I tried to learn everything. And I went out there and learned all the, everything, all the stuff that nobody wants to learn about too. You got to learn about it all. You got to study the Satanist crap, the pagan crap, all of it, Buddhism, world history, everything, all the religion. So I got pretty, actually, as a twin, I mentioned I'm a twin. We all have psychic skills. We all have psychic skills. Some have a little bit more than others. Some are born gifted, but I got pretty good at it. And, I hooked up, I started collecting psychics. Okay. I still do. It's my group, my Telegram group is what that's all about, really. I call them Jedi. But I've been collecting psychics because I wanted to go back to this Getty and do battle with them, because this is what they do. The Getty is protected not just by guns, but by psychics. Now this has been around a long time. During World War II, Hitler had his psychics, and they were called Vril, V-R-I-L. I know you've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Vril are alive and well today. There were good Vril and bad Vril, if you will. We don't really say that good and evil thing, but the Getty is protected by at least 200 of these Vril, and they're all trained there. And a lot of these abductions that they do, when the whole mission, of course, is to stop this child abduction and torture and satanic ritual abuse and all that. But the big portion of this whole abduction stuff is to locate people with these psychic skills. And this is where they get them. They'll kidnap these children, and they'll find the ones that have the talents, and they send them to a school. Basically, the school is under the Getty.
Now, have you been under the Getty yourself?
Nope, nobody goes under the Getty. The only people that go under the Getty are the bad guys and the victims. And if you there's only one person I know that's come out from under the Getty, and that's Allie Carter. You know Allie Carter?
I've heard of her, yeah.
Little black girl, yeah. Okay, well, the only way she got out of there alive is by killing children. Okay, they took her down there for the sole purpose of performing a ritual sacrifice, and then she got to leave afterwards. And the only reason she's gone public now is that so they can try to hijack this from me. Because if you've noticed, we've got our Sound of Freedom movie. Isn't that funny? SOF. You know what SOF is? Soldier of Fortune. Huh. You look at that Tim Ballard guy, he looks like a soldier of fortune. Okay, I know all about that stuff because that's what I used to be. So when I hear SOF, I don't hear Sound of Freedom. I hear Soldier of Fortune. And that's what this is. And I'll tell you, Carlos Slim and a whole bunch of bad guys, the guy from Virgin Air, the guy Paul Mitchell, there's a whole bunch of creepy dudes who are into pedophilia who financed that movie. So it's a joke. It's the only reason that, Disney is produced that. It was a Fox movie. Disney buys Fox. 3 years later, they release it. They put it on the shelf. They didn't want it out. Now they want it out. Why do they want it out? Because of us. Because of Occupy the Getty is taking over. Because everybody's talking about it. Hell, I had a little girl delivering something to my door the other day, and I don't have a cell phone. She says she made a comment about that, and I said, well, ex-CIA, we don't use cell phones. And then she comes back and she says, hey, is it true? I heard that they're shipping children from Long Beach, the port of Long Beach, to underneath the Getty. And I said, yeah, that's true. That came from me. So the point is, we're getting out there.
Now, Stephen, let me ask you, without giving away specific names, how did you get the information about what was really going on underneath there?
Well, I'll give out specific names. I don't care. People have died.
Whatever you want to give out, my friend.
They can't kill me. I mean, seriously, they flat out told me to my face that they can't kill me. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the Getty, the trust fund manager of the Getty sat down across the table from me at dinner and said, we can't kill you. You're protected. They called it the Can't Be Killed Club. Now, before he said that, I knew it because I already seen plenty of people try to kill me that died in the process, usually very violently.
Now, may I ask, why is it that you're in that Can't Be Killed Club?
Well, it's kind of like this. When a human has a certain destiny, they're going to do something. Everything in reality is based on probability. Whether or not that thing is going to actually happen. It's all percentages. And when there's something that has a 90% or better chance of actually happening, there's nothing that can stop that. It's written at that point, it becomes written in stone. And it's the same thing with this mission. Basically, they've known for thousands of years that I would come and I would do this. They knew it. They told me that. And they also knew they couldn't stop it. So what they try to do is they try to manage it. So they tried to manage it. They offered me a throne. They said, you can come down here and be one of us. You're so much better than everybody, all this. It's kind of like the Masons. But so I already knew that. But the thing is that, when I was with the NSA and I left those guys, I wore body armor for a whole year waiting for them to come and get me. But they didn't. They couldn't. They were the ones that got chased away, not me. And this is common. And so what I've been doing for the last 20 years, I've been pushing it. I'll do anything I can to poke that tiger, to tweak, to pull his tail, to poke him in the eye, whatever. I am not getting bit. it doesn't matter. I go after whoever, the drug cartels, Mossad, Shin Bet, the Kraft International, these professional killers. I go after all of them, and they run from me. I mean, guys like Craig Sawyer, you know, professional tough guy. I told him, I said, here's my address. You get all your buddies together and all your guns, and you come see me, and we'll see what happens. And I won't even use a gun. You know, I don't need a gun. You know, I mean, you'll have an accident on the way over here. You go on a plane, your plane will crash. You get in a car, you're going to crash. Bad things will happen. And if it doesn't happen to you, it'll happen to your family. It'll happen to your kids. You know, it'll happen to somebody really close to you. I mean, I've had guys screw with me that develop spinal diseases, who are in pain for the rest of their lives. I've had people get in violent car crashes where they were turned into hamburger because they wanted to kill me. I've had guys turn up dead in the motel rooms. You know, it's just one of those things. Now I know I have a psychic army. I have an altar. You've probably heard of stuff like that, but I have an altar. His name is Rambo. I call him Rambo. I don't know what his real name is, but he's Rambo. We call him Rambo. Rambo is an entity. He's an 8th density entity. All right. And if you know anything about the densities, you'll know what I'm talking about. But according to Rambo, he's an 8th density entity, and his job is to basically come down here and wipe out. Well, he's like God's hitman. He comes down here and wipes these guys out. Now, he's kind of a leader, but he does all that. We do a lot of stuff in the astral. All of our fighting goes on in the astral. Because that's where it's at, you know, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and high places, etc. That's how we do this. We're not killing humans. We go after the Vril. We go after these Draco. We kill Draco every night. We close portals. Our job is to basically delete all the Draco, all the Anunnaki, and all the Gray.
Now, how long have you been initiated in this esoteric mystery information that you're discussing now?
Well, like I said, back during the Clinton administration, when they were telling me I had to help them come up with a way to save the world from the aliens, this is when I really kind of started it. But when I was a kid, you know, I mean, like I said, I'm a twin, and as a twin, you know, you do stuff. You know, we have little psychic stuff going on, and I used to do, you know, even when I was a child, I used to do stuff like tarot cards, and I stopped doing it because it was scary. You know, because it worked.
Right.
But when you're psychic, you just write all the time. Okay, you just write. You know stuff that you shouldn't know. You don't even know why you know it. You just know it. But, you know, back to the Getty thing, you're asking me, how do I know this and how I know that? There's a lot of ways to know this stuff. I mean, first of all, we all knew about these DUMBS, you know, Phil Schneider, Bill Cooper. They've been talking about it for years. We know about it. I've had so many of these people come to me. There was one guy named Vince, and he was actually a Draco. He was a shapeshifter, but he came to me when I was working on a CIA project called the Plasma Beam. It was like a big flashlight, but it wasn't really a flashlight. It was more like a weapon system. It was a weapon system that I was waiting to be turned into what it was going to be turned into. You know, like the Men in Black, they use those little flashy thingies. It was like one of, it was kind of like one of those, but real. Oh my God, I got to turn on the air conditioner. What is it? Oh, let me see. Oh, it's only 90 degrees.
Right on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Pretty soon I'm going to start sweating. I'm going to have to turn the air on. But
yeah, go for it.
Well, I'll give you a second before I do this. But we turned. What did we do? Now my brother was the one that had most of the connection. Okay, I was doing some heavy CIA NSA stuff. And he was too, but he kind of got out of it. He wanted to pursue other things. So he turned a lot of it over to me because I had more experience with dealing with government stuff. And I was the gun guy. We're kind of like polar opposites. And that's a whole other story in itself. But back then I was like a masculine caricature. I was uber macho. If you look at me now, you think I'm skinny. I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but people were scared of me. I was deadly, deadly with a gun. Just really, I was famous for that. World famous for being really scary with a Glock. Glock's my thing. Glock and MP5, or any military weapon, but mostly Glock and MP5. I could light a match. Okay. But anyway, so they were scared of me about that, and they were always thinking that I was gonna put an army together, and this is how this was gonna happen. It's like, the movie The Matrix, when Keanu's going in there to rescue Morpheus. Okay, that's the Getty. That is the Getty. That's what they were talking about. If you look at the marble going all over the place, that's the Getty. That's what's supposed to be the Getty. This is what they thought was going to happen. Instead, I put together an army of psychics. Instead of an army of guys with guns, which is what was the original plan, we turned it around and put an army together of psychics. See, because back in those days, I had body armor that went down to your knees. I had that plasma beam. I had secret weapons. I had, laser sighting systems and gas masks and night vision and all that stuff. Anything the military has today, I had stuff that was a little better, because I was inventing this stuff. A lot of the systems that they use today in the war are they got from me.
Mm. Do you think that from a young age you were led and possibly groomed to go in a certain direction because of your family? Yeah.
Of course. Well, everybody does that. Everybody is groomed. Everybody is planned. You think that you pick the job you have? No, they picked it for you. They pick what school you go to, what you learn, who do you hang out with. It's all planned way, way in advance. So yeah, they did that. But you see, I broke my programming. Pot does that. I went in another direction. Back in 77. Back in 77, I hooked up with a Vietnamese refugee who did fortunes. Okay, so I had my fortune told in great, great detail back in 77, and I was supposed to make about $500 million or something like that doing weapon systems. And that happened. Okay. I got there. When in 77, I thought, wow, this is never going to happen. This is crazy. But in the 90s, let me see, what was it? Early 90s, I think it was. I actually did develop a weapon system that the Army was going to put on every single gun. Mm. They were going to order 700,000 lasers from me. They were going to be about $1,200 a piece, but they were, that's like half of what they would have got from the CIA supplier. But I knew then that I couldn't do it. I was so much blood, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because of the blood, all the people who died, especially in Iraq and places like that, places where my stuff was being used. Iraq was like very painful for me, like the road out of Basra, when they wiped out 400,000 people in 30 minutes. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that was very painful for me. Hmm. That hurt a lot. I couldn't sleep. That was like a great disturbance in the force. Because I was involved. And so I've been working really hard to make up for stuff like that.
You said something very interesting. You said that in some aspects, they control the direction of everyone's life. Is that what you were trying to get at? That they have a way to steer every single person in a direction that they want them to go, career-wise, friends, these things can be
all that
manipulated?
All right. Well, you also have to remember is that, they have technology. They can see the future. Of course, that stopped. They only went up to 2012. That was the big transition. When the transition started, was actually at 2012. But their looking glass stopped at 2012. But they had a really good idea. So they knew who to kind of keep an eye on and who to modify and who to work on. Some people they don't really have to, because they're not really going to do anything. But they really pay attention to are the people that influence others. They're very concerned about that, and especially if you're a genius and you're really motivated, that's the thing they fear the most. Because one motivated genius can undo the programming of a million people. So yeah, that's their downfall. Yeah, that's basically what we're trying to do right now with this mission, is just wake up those people, and it's happening. But what was the gist of your question? I mean, see, the thing is that this whole planning stuff.
To what extent are they interfering or steering each individual person in their own lives? Because you said, like yourself, that marijuana broke the programming you were under and you were able to do your own thing. Is this across the board with people, or are some people still just being controlled to be part of, I guess you would say, this background program and not look behind the curtain?
I think that all of us have the potential to wake up and assume our role and do the work that we actually came here to do.
Right on.
And this is why people reincarnate, is because they never got done doing the work they came here to do. And most people, they never even wake up and remember that they came here to do a job. And that's why they have to keep coming back and doing it over and over. So the sooner that you realize that you do have a purpose, and you did come here to affect that some change, then you're closer to getting out of here. But here's the reality. The reality is that we get salvation through knowledge, and we're all the same person technically. We're all part of God. God is a single thing. So all of these billions of people running around are all little portions of God, and it's all the same thing. We're all the same person having these little separate little experiences, but technically we're all the same. So what that means is we don't go home until we all go home. And this is why, if you want to go home and you want to graduate, it behooves you to spread your knowledge with other people, because it's only through that knowledge that we get to go home. So as far as waking up everybody and everybody having an effect, some of us are going to wake up first. It's like the whole Matrix thing, Neo. The one that does it first is going to do it for everyone else, because ultimately we can change our reality. We can manifest. We can cause our destiny to be whatever. And the first one that really learns how to do that is able to affect this destiny for everyone else. So this is what's really important. And we all really need to learn how to work together and stop thinking that it's a competition, because it's not. And the other thing that's really super important that you've got to learn during this wake up process is that there's no such thing as evil, and good and evil. It's all different shades of gray that's ever changing. Good. There is nothing good that's 100% good, except maybe Christ and God, and that, we're so far from that. The best that we can do as humans, as living entities, is try to become at least over half service to others. That's the answer. The whole purpose of being on this earth is to serve others and to teach other people that is the path to salvation. All right. Was that a vape? I saw that. No, that's not a vape.
Oh, no.
Okay, anyway. I thought you were, anyway. Some guys do that while I'm on the show. They'd be like puffing away, and I'm like, "Hey, that's not fair." Yeah.
No, anyway. I'll at least wait till after, but all good.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, based on what I just told you, what would you like to hear me say?
So, I want to know the extent of the advanced technology that's hidden from us. I always am under the understanding that it's possibly 50 to 100 or beyond years than what we were ever presented to the general public. Some of the military, industrial, and black technology that's existing out there could be many dozens of years ahead of anything we understand, and I'd love to hear what you know about it.
Well, we all know about Tesla. And we know that Tesla technology is at least 100 years ahead of what back, 1800s, we had free electricity, and, anyway, that's all down there. That's there. They've got that. But they also have alien tech, from grays and reptiles and such. And they also have ancient tech, like stuff from Atlantis. I mean, we use Atlantis technology now when you work with the organite and crystals and that kind of thing. That's Atlantis tech. I mean, I got in trouble. I was working on some free energy stuff, and I had Men in Black in my garage because of it. So yeah, I've discovered some things. There's a lot of tech. And the thing is here is that humans, we don't really need the tech. We can do it with our brain. Anything you can do with tech, you can do with your brain. And it's just a matter of learning it. But not all people can do that. And that's why the tech is kind of important. And I really want to get down there because of we need that tech to cure the earth, to do things like fix Fukushima and remove this radiation and undo this COVID and this damage that they did to everybody's DNA. We need to fix that. We need to get all this crap out of the atmosphere. We need to undo all this damage, get rid of all those heavy metals. The quickest way to do that, of course, is with their tech. One of the biggest, most important techs that's down there is scalar based. And that's, of course, fourth density. That's the density that's just above us, of course, fourth, fifth, all that. As soon as you get above the third level, things change. But scalar tech involves things like, not holography, but you can actually modify reality using scalar technology. And I had been working on this tech for a while myself because it's not strictly their domain. We can do it too. But the thing is that they have such stronger tech than we do that they can overpower our tech. But one of the things that I did that they wanted to kill me for was I found a way to program a solid state laser with a scalar program. So in other words, I could project a scalar program using a laser beam a great distance. And this was a big, big problem for them because they didn't want me to figure that out. They didn't, I don't even know if they know that, but they actually put a hit out on me. Did you hear about that big argument I got into with Kerry Cassidy on that idiot Louis Terms show? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. No.
You didn't see it? Oh my God, it's all over the internet right now. All right, well, you know Kerry Cassidy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, all right. I know her really well.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. But she was at a Bilderberger meeting attending. Now she told everybody that she's not a Bilderberger. I called her out. I said, well, you were at the Bilderberger meeting. And she said, no, I wasn't. I was at a Bilderberger protest meeting. Sure you were. With David Icke and Alex Jones. I'm like, oh yeah, that's redeeming there. But yeah, that really makes you look good. But anyway, she called me from London and said that the Bilderbergers had put a hit out on me and a couple other guys, associates that were working on the scalar stuff. And she said that they didn't mind what I was doing now, this whole speaking and lecturing and all that stuff. What they really didn't like was when I was inventing things and the laser business. They didn't like that at all. So basically, what we were coming up with was like a lightsaber kind of a thing. You can program these things to do whatever you want. I mean, whatever, anything. And so they wanted to kill me. Of course, I told everybody about it, and I got a big old army of spirits behind me, if you will. And they couldn't do anything. They couldn't touch me. And anyway, I got on this. I challenged her on that. I said, "Hey, Kerry, remember that time? You called me up from London and all that." Anyway, she got a big old thing. But yeah, that's what that was all about. That technology. So yeah, that's one of the biggest technologies they have down there. But they do a lot of, the MK Ultra mind control stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of that is emanating from that location. There are limitations to what they can do, but they can definitely alter people's opinions about things and how they feel about other people and things like that. They can make you like somebody like your family. Okay, that's just it's like love potion. There's no such thing as a love potion per se, but the best you can do is you can get somebody to really like you a lot. That's what the tech can actually do. And it can do other things, but that's, as far as human emotion goes, that's, the tech can actually affect that.
Getting back to the Getty and the underground facilities, I've had different researchers and guests on that speculate about tunnels that go across the United States underground. I live in northern Colorado now, used to live in Denver, and of course we have the famous Denver airport here that many speculate is a massive underground military facility that could have tunnels connecting across to different cities underground across the United States. And I'd like to get your thoughts on how far these tunnels go. Do they go to the Getty, and what are they being used for?
All right. People need to stop thinking of the earth as like a solid rock. It's not. It's more like a sponge. Okay? It's a sponge. And it's not even a solid. It's hollow. But the crust of this hollow, it's like a geode. You know what a geode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the earth is a geode. It's a big geode. Only instead of crystals inside, you've got mountains and oceans and lakes and stuff. Yeah, and there's a sun in the middle of the earth, but it's not really a sun. It's a plasma ball. Remember, we were talking about plasma beams. Same thing. It's a nuclear thing, but anyway. So yeah, there's man-made tunnels. There's big tunnels, little tunnels. There's tunnels that have been there that the mafia made. There's tunnels that the Draco made, the Gray made. There's tunnels that they made back during the times of Atlantis. The Earth is hundreds of millions of years old. Wow. Hundreds. This war that we're in right now with the Draco and all that, the Gray, the Draco, the Anunnaki, that they've been running the Earth for 25 million years. Okay, 25 million. Before that, there was at least 8,000 different species of entity living here. 8,000. We think these humans are so advanced. We weren't even, hell, they made us. We're just a bunch of hybrids that were created by these three entities. They each made different hybrids that they used to do their slave labor. It's like Zachariah Stitchin said when they hybridized Neanderthals to make Homo sapiens so that they could dig gold. And then, fallen angels, and they learn, the women learned how to make colorful clothing and makeup and music and all that, and it all happened. But the thing is that these three entities have basically, God made a treaty with these three entities and basically said, all right, I'm not going to wipe you out. We're not going to have a flood. We're not going to do this, but you're going to abide by a treaty. And that treaty basically said there could be no more than 250 million of them, and that the Earth could only have so many, and that the moon was going to be the realm of the Gray, and that Nibiru was going to be the realm of the Anunnaki, and that they wouldn't eat humans, and they wouldn't have portals, and they wouldn't bring any more of them here on the Earth. But they violated every single one of these treaties. And this is why us as humans are now rising up and destroying them. Because that's why when we were hybridized, we weren't even supposed to have a soul. Okay? They did not intend for us to have a soul. We had 8 chakras. They bred the 8th chakra out of our bodies. So we only have 7 chakras now. They did that thinking that this would disrupt our ability to communicate with Source. They didn't realize that we would be born with souls, and we would have all these skills and everything, just as if we were coming directly from Source. To them, we're synthetic animals. Okay, but joke's on them, because God is going to use us to wipe them out. So after 25 million years, those three entities are going to get genocided. And the Jedi are doing it. We're doing it right now. We're doing it with the Draco, then the Grey, and then the Anunnaki in that order. And they're going to get completely wiped out. And this is not about hate. This is surgery. We're removing cancer. And when it's over, and when these things are gone from the universe, you will see all of those entities, those 8,000 species, will all come back, and the Earth will be like it used to be. And
so we're supposed to be sovereign beings, even though we were engineered. We've been infiltrated somehow by these beings.
Well, that's kind of a funny way of putting it, because sovereign isn't really real. I know a lot of humans like to use that term, but it's kind of a notion that was bred into us to make us think that we're all special, because we're really not. We're really not. Because you got to remember, we're not even individuals. We think we're individuals, but we're not. We're not. We're all the same person taking turns having an experience in a different body. Mm-hmm. That's all this is, because ultimately it's all about gaining this experience so that God can have experience. This is what reality is it's experience, it's knowledge, it's action. This is what makes thought into reality. So that's what we are. But as far as being sovereign is concerned, we are earning our place in the universe. You see, there's a lot of entities out there that you could say are truly sovereign. But when you get down to it, once again, there's only two parties in the universe, or two types of entity, STO and STS, service to others and service to self. So there's a lot more service to others out there. That's the way to go. But the dark side, Luciferian, whatever you want to call it, fallen angels, all that, that's the service to self. So it's a big competition to try to recruit. And our job as humans is to try to teach people that serving others is the correct path. But as far as this sovereign thing goes, you remember, we were created as slaves. We were never sovereign. We're slaves. The very fact that we have a soul and we can have a connection to source wasn't supposed to be there. But that's a little trick that God did to basically plant the destruction of these entities. So the very slaves that these entities were created are going to be the vehicle that God's going to use to remove them. Finally, after 25 million years.
What do you think is the real agenda behind mainstream disclosure, the government agencies that are supposedly researching what's behind the UFO phenomena, these Pentagon departments that are supposedly looking into it, and then in turn the mainstream media is reporting on it? It's now okay to talk about UFOs. There's a lot going on that's being presented to the public in a certain way that this could possibly be a threat. What is your idea and understanding of what's really happening?
First of all, beam ships are real, okay? And so-called aliens are real. Although alien is a very condescending term, because we haven't even been here for very long, and we're calling the guys that have been here forever the aliens. It's stupid. And I'll tell you, it's just like I told Carrie Cassidy. She's paid to talk about aliens and stuff to make us all look stupid.
I always thought that, but yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Because the thing is that just, of course there's aliens. Of course there's all kinds of things, but they use this information to divide us, to make us look insane, which is stupid. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so effective, because I'm obviously not insane. I mean, my God, seriously, it's like when you reach a certain level of education, it's sort of hard for people to pick a fight with you. But anyway, the thing is that this disclosure stuff, government's a bad word. There's no such thing as a government. The people, my God, this business that we have with the undergrounds and the satanic ritual abuse and all that, it's all the government. It's the government. It's always been the government. And this concept of sovereign nations, it's a joke because all these little sovereign nations with their little borders and all that stuff, all you got to do is go underground, and there's no sovereign nation. There's no borders. It's all one big thing. So like you talked about these tunnels, yes, they go across the entire United States. They go under oceans. They go from Australia. They go to the center of the earth. There's the whole world in there. Area 51 has got an elevator that goes down, 800 miles. It's the crust of the earth is 800 miles thick. You go down 800 miles to get to the inside of the earth, basically. And gravity and the so-called metal core and all that crap, that's 400 miles down. Then you pass that and you go in the other direction. It's a big ass joke. But here's the thing. What's really important, and this is really the reason for my Occupy the Getty mission, is because we could spend our whole lives trying to understand these things and learn this stuff and fill our heads with all this information. And what good is it going to do? Is it going to change anything? No, it doesn't. The only thing that we need to know is that the key to ending this evil on earth and bringing about this paradise, this transition, this thing that we're all been talking about for thousands of years, is to basically expose what they're doing underground. And the only way to do that is the Getty. And they already know we do it. And that doesn't mean the Getty is the only bunker. There's bunkers all over the world. But this one particular bunker is the throne for everything. And it's where the most heinous stuff is going on. And it's the most opulent and luxurious, and everything's covered in gold. It is the throne for the crown. And as far as humanity is concerned, the crown is in charge. It's been that way since Runnymede, since King John and the Magna Carta. Ever since the Magna Carta, the crown has been running the world. And sure, you say, yeah, the Rothschilds are running the world, but the Rothschilds infiltrated the crown. You want to run the world, you own the crown. You own the throne. And this is why we're taking over the Getty, because that's where the throne is. That's the seat of power. If we can take that Getty and we can take that seat of power, it's all over, because whoever owns that seat of power has the power. And that's my plan.
And I know it's probably a very dark topic to get into, but it's very important that people understand what exactly is going on underneath the Getty. You hear rumors of child trafficking, sex trafficking, very dark military black projects and experiments, MK Ultra. From your understanding, what's happening under there?
Well, it's a big place and it's happening all over the place, but at the very least, it's a blood orgy. It's a blood orgy. I mean, Satan loves blood. The service to other entities, like the 4D entities, your Draco, reptoids, and all that, they need the blood. They require the blood because they are higher level density, and as a higher level density entity, they are higher in spiritual. They're half spiritual, half physical, so they need physical nutrition and they need spiritual nutrition. And the adrenochrome is a physical representation in the 3D of loosh. And loosh is the thing that they are actually collecting. It's what they feed on. And loosh is negative human emotional psychic energy. Negative human, anyway, it's when you have hate and fear and loathing and all these horrible experiences, pain. Mm-hmm. That's loosh. Mm-hmm. So this is what they do when they're torturing these children. They're doing it to maximize the quality of the loosh. It's not just the adrenochrome. Sure, there's humans that take adrenochrome, but it's the loosh is what they really want, and they got to have it. And we are a loosh factory supplying these entities in the universe. And here's the thing: there's not that many of them out there. I told you there was 250 million of each one of these things. Typically, in any kind of planet system, there's only going to be roughly 200 million entities on that planet. And the reason why is because of the maturation of the soul. We all have, as I said, we're all the same person. We all have the same soul. We all go to heaven at the same time. We all graduate at the same time, which means that if there's too many people, it takes too long to get there. And this is the problem with overpopulation, and this is why the Illuminati want to kill off so many people, is because when we overpopulate the world, it's like, imagine you've got a world, you've got 250 million people, and those souls are mature and they're ready to graduate because they've been here for so long. And all of a sudden you add 7 billion immature souls that have zero life experience. And now those other souls have got to wait for everybody to catch up. So that's the problem, is that we all have to catch up. And the more of us there are, the longer it takes to catch up. That's why they want to kill us. Well, we don't have to kill everybody. We could just teach them all and make them all catch up. Now, that's exponential. And unfortunately, the road to enlightenment, which is what we're all trying to achieve, requires that you got to learn about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, you would think it'd be easier, instead of hiding all this knowledge, all this secret esoteric knowledge and divine wisdom from the masses. If we taught them, like you said, possibly they could achieve their goal without having to kill everyone.
Yeah, that's true, except that there's only one problem, is that as Satanists, they're taught to believe that they are superior and they are like gods. Oh, that's interesting. Somebody's at my front door. Oh,
you were saying the wrong things.
Well, I had the FBI show up at my door a while back when I was on an interview, and that didn't go very well. I always make sure the front door is locked. Okay. Anyway, it's okay.
No, it's all good. Now, I want to get your thoughts on human cloning and the possibilities with this. There's lots of speculation that clones are inserted into very high-level positions, celebrities, things like that. What is your understanding of how advanced this is?
Well, God bless Donald Marshall, but I don't agree with him at all. Okay.
All right, right on.
I regret that he had to go through what he went through, all the trauma and everything, and that has a lot to do with why he does what he does today. You know, because trauma is what makes us do these things. But it's not like he says. Yes, there are clones. Yes, there are. Humans can make clones. Most of the cloning is done by the aliens, the good guys and the bad guys. And as far as replacing important people, yeah, there's some high-profile clones. Hillary, of course, was probably the most famous. George Bush Sr. Is probably the most famous clone, because he was cloned many, many times. And what happens is that the enemy will clone the person, and then the good guys will come along. I say good guys, and then they'll make a clone, and they'll go back and forth with these clones. They'll keep replacing the clones, you know, and so and of course these things, they don't work very well. You know, they don't last long. I mean, Hillary's a perfect example of that. They don't last long. They don't function very well, and they say stupid things. But it's not really like some people say. It's kind of like people that run around and try to say that all these actors and actresses are transvestites or transgenders or whatnot. You know, come on, man, as Joe Biden would say. Oh, sorry about that. No, anyway, but no, I know there's clones, but it's not like it is now. The biggest clones that you really got to look for. Like, for instance, in the UK, they have a big underground lab that is a cloning facility, and they make fake aliens. They make these EBTs, I think they call them, or whatever.
EBEs?
Yeah, EBEs. They don't look like the real Greys. They're a little bit different. I think their eyes are shaped different. But those are man-made gray. Those are clones. So yeah, we're going to have to watch out for that. I kind of don't really, this kind of pisses me off because when I started getting into all this stuff, there was this one idiot, used to call himself former white hat. He's dead now. He's one of those guys I was telling you about. He screwed with me and now he's dead, but he could be still alive hiding, but he's hiding either way. But he was the one that ran around. He was telling people that there was like 5 clones of me, and people were sucking this up, and like, which clone are you? I mean, my God, and then the fact that I'm a twin, of course, they're like, oh, he's a clone. He's a clone, So yeah.
You mentioned good guys, and then you quickly retracted that a little bit. Is there anyone that has slightly the inkling of humanity's interest in mind that are part of powerful groups?
Well, sure. JFK Jr. is pretty cool, but he still doesn't know everything.
Right.
That's one of the problems with these people. It's like saying you're good and you're bad. There's nothing that's 100%. It's just like being intelligent or being right. There's nothing that's 100%. I mean, I made a mistake. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. No, yeah, you could. Come on now. But yeah, we're all human. We're all fallible, and the best way to represent this dimension or this density that we're on is the yin and the yang. And when you look at the yin and the yang, it's static. No, it's not static. It's actually revolving. It's always spinning. And so what that means is you're getting constant different ratios of black and white. And this is the nature of our reality, is that everything is shades of gray. And so when I say good, the most good has some bad, and the most bad has some good. And that goes up and down. It changes. So we have to realize that we can all have salvation. All we have to do is learn to serve others a little bit more than we serve ourselves. So it's now like, let's for instance say you're a Satanist, or a Luciferian. A lot of people would say, or a Draco for that matter. A lot of people say, well, yeah, he's a Luciferian, but he's a really nice guy. Guys like Max Spears, remember Max Spears?
Yeah,
Another one of those dead guys. Anyway, he was a Luciferian. Mm-hmm. He's what I call Luciferian light. Okay? You're still a Luciferian. You may be really pleasant, nice, and really cool to hang out with, but you're anti-human. The nature of being a Luciferian is being anti-human, and being anti-human is not a good place to be. That's how you go to hell.
Now, what's the difference between Luciferianism, Satanism? Is this more of a metaphysical type of thing? Well, are the Draco physical beings or more of spiritual entities?
Well, again, there's 9 levels of density, and every level of density is inhabited by different types of entities. Number 9 is God. Number 8 is the Holy Spirit. Number 7 is the ascended masters, including Jesus. Number 6 is the angels. Number 5 is heaven, as we call it. Number 4 is the aliens, or hell. Number 3 is this right here, where we are right now. And number 2, that's the plants and the animals. And number 1, that's all the inanimate objects. Your coffee cup, your concrete, your rocks, that kind of a thing. It's just like Tesla said, it's all about 3, 6, 9. We're in the 3, the level above us is the 6, and the Trinity is the 9.
Interesting.
Okay, the Trinity is real. So,
right.
Again, you divide that down the middle, and there's about maybe say 30% or so of the universe are the so-called bad guys, but we don't say bad, we say STS. The ones that like to serve themselves, the greedy ones, the selfish ones. The world that we live in today is based on selfishness. It's a STS world. Our salvation and the purpose of our mission, besides freeing the children and eliminating all the Draco, etc., is to convert our society, our world, our reality into a non-selfish society. We need to teach people that wealth comes through service to others, not hoarding of treasure. You know, in the future, people will be celebrated for what they've done for other people, not for what they've done for themselves. I mean, it's like, imagine people that honored Donald Trump. What the hell did Donald Trump do for anybody besides take their money?
Yeah, I love how people put folks like that up on pedestals and look for saviors and heroes here. But Stephen, we got a few minutes left. I would love to get your thoughts on the possibilities that we may see. Many think we may see a fake invasion scenario. What do you think is the next big thing that we're going to see? Because I believe we're in a war. We're in a spiritual war.
Okay, here's the thing. They try to control our reality. They try to manifest. They try to control. I mean, hell, Revelations in the Bible was a perfect example of it, trying to tell us what our future is going to be. Our future is going to be what we make, not what they tell us. They program us and they tell us, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. So you all say, this is what's coming. And then you make it come. What's coming is Occupy the Getty. What's coming is freedom on earth. What's coming is paradise on earth. What's coming is the end of 25 million years of evil on earth. That's what's coming. All this other fake stuff, it's just like World War III and mass pandemic and death. No, that's not what's coming. What's coming is their end. And I'll tell you something. I'm not here to cut their heads off. I'm here to free everybody, but I'm also here to bring them back into the human family, because ultimately even Satan and Lucifer just want to come home and be part of the family. And so that's what we do. Prodigal son. We forgive them. We don't punish. We're not Satan. We're not going to cut your head off. We're never going to let you commit your crimes again, but we're not going to punish you, and we're not going to do what you would do to us. And that's the future.
Right on.
All right, let me just plug my stuff.
Yeah, go for it. Plug it.
Plug
away.
Obviously, first of all, hi to everybody in the group. If you guys are, whenever you're listening to this thing, the group is, I'm censored. I'm not on anywhere. You got to go to Telegram. You got to join Telegram, and you got to find Occupy the Getty / Stephen D. Kelley, STEVENKELLEY. And if you want to email me, you got to go to Law 17 Gun, and you can get my book for free, and you can get healing. You can learn how to join the Jedi, blah, blah, blah. What else? Oh, yeah, if you want to donate, PayPal's Stephen Kelley 714 at yahoo.com. You got to say friend or family, or I will send it back. Okay. And what else? That's about. Oh, yeah. And Truth Cat Radio every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Stephen D. Kelley Show comes on for an hour at www.truthcatradio.com. So I wish you guys would join me, because we're censored all to hell. You know?
Yeah, I feel that. Stephen, thank you so much. This was fantastic. We could go a lot deeper, so we'll have to do this again in the future for sure.
All right, next time.
Yes, man. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We will talk again tomorrow. See y'all then.